Have you ever noticed something strange about your sleep? You fall asleep, maybe even fairly quickly, but then suddenly your eyes snap open. You check the clock, 2:58 a.m., 3:07 a.m., 3:21 a.m. It feels like it's almost every single night. And once you're awake, your brain starts running like a computer with 47 tabs open. Do you think about work, bills, random memories from years ago, conversations you wish you had handled differently? And the worst part, the more you try to force yourself back to sleep, the more frustratingly awake you feel. If this keeps happening to you, especially around 3 a.m., it's not random. It's not just stress. And it's definitely not because you slept too early. There's actually a biological reason this specific time shows up again and again for people struggling with this kind of sleep issue. And it has to do with something called a midnight cortisol spike. To understand why this happens, we need to talk about how your brain is supposed to work at night. Your body runs on a built-in timing system called your circadian rhythm. Think of it as your internal sleep clock. Throughout the day, certain hormones rise and fall on a predictable schedule. In the evening, as it gets dark, a hormone called melatonin begins to rise, signaling to your body that it's time to wind down and get ready for sleep. At the same time, cortisol, which is often called your main stress hormone, is supposed to drop to its lowest levels of the entire 24-hour cycle. That drop is crucial. It's what allows your nervous system to shift out of its active daytime mode and into a state of deep, restorative sleep. This is the ideal scenario, but for people who experience chronic sleep disruption, something unusual happens. Instead of cortisol continuing to drop throughout the night, it does the exact opposite. It spikes. And when cortisol rises, your brain switches into alert mode. Your nervous system thinks something important or threatening is happening that requires your attention. So your body does exactly what it's designed to do in that situation. It wakes you up. And it's not a gentle, peaceful awakening. It's abrupt. That's why so many people wake up suddenly, sometimes with their heart beating a little faster or their mind instantly racing. Your brain isn't waking you up by accident. It's activating your internal alert system, preparing you for a perceived threat. Now, here's where things get even more frustrating. Once you wake up at 3 a.m., a whole new cycle begins. You check the clock, and immediately your brain starts doing the math. Okay, I only have 3 or 4 hours of sleep left. Then the worry kicks in. If I don't fall asleep right now, tomorrow is going to be terrible. I'll be exhausted. Your brain interprets that worry as a legitimate stressor. And what does stress trigger? You guessed it, Marty, cortisol. And now you're stuck in a frustrating feedback loop. Cortisol rises, which makes you more alert. Being alert leads to more racing thoughts. Those thoughts create anxiety, which then causes cortisol to rise even more. This is precisely why people can lie awake for hours after waking up in the middle of the night. You're not just awake, you're caught in a hormonal cycle that is actively working against sleep. Now, here's the part that most common sleep advice completely misses. People are usually told to fix this problem with things like drinking herbal tea, taking a melatonin supplement, avoiding screens before bed, or trying a meditation app. And while those things aren't bad and can certainly help a little, they don't address the actual trigger of the problem. Because the real issue isn't just about falling asleep. It's about turning off the alert system once your brain has activated it. And that requires a very different approach. Your brain doesn't calm down simply because you tell it to relax. It's not that simple. Your nervous system needs a genuine signal of safety. When your brain senses safety, cortisol levels can drop and the natural pressure to sleep can return. But as long as it senses uncertainty or a threat on a self-created one like worrying about not sleeping, it will stay alert. This is why many people notice something interesting. They might doze off easily on the couch while watching a movie, but the second they get into bed, they feel wide awake. This happens because the brain has subconsciously started to associate the bed itself with the struggle of trying to sleep. The tossing, the turning, the frustration. Your nervous system remembers that struggle, so the key is to interrupt that alert loop quickly before it has a chance to escalate. One of the most effective ways to do this is with a short neurological reset technique designed to stop that racing thought cycle before cortisol continues to climb. This can often take less than 2 minutes. Then You can combine that with a specific breathing sequence that helps signal your nervous system to shift from that alert fight or flight mode into its rest and digest or parasympathetic recovery mode. In simple terms, it's about helping your body go from survival mode back into sleep mode. When this is done correctly, many people notice their body physically relaxing within just a few minutes. Their heart rate slows down, their muscles release tension, the racing thoughts lose their intensity, and that natural feeling of sleepiness or sleep pressure begins to return. But here's something really important to remember. These techniques work best before the brain fully escalates into that high stress loop. This is why having a structured nighttime wind-down routine matters so much. Not a long, complicated routine, but just the right sequence of actions. When you combine things like a neural reset, cortisol shutdown breathing, and cues that reinforce your body's natural circadian rhythm, your brain begins to relayer in a stable, consistent sleep pattern. This is how some people go from waking up every single night at 3 a.m. to sleeping straight through the night again. It's not because they forced themselves to sleep. It's because they removed the neurological trigger that was waking them up in the first place. Your brain doesn't hate sleep. In fact, it desperately wants and needs it. But when its alert system is misfiring, it overrides your natural sleep rhythm. The good news is that this system can be retrained. Your brain is incredibly adaptable. Once that alert loop is interrupted consistently, your nervous system begins to trust that nighttime is safe again, and sleep becomes automatic instead of a nightly battle. If waking up around 3 a.m. has become your normal, please know you're not alone. Millions of people experience this exact pattern. The key is to understand why it's happening, because once you understand the mechanism, you can stop blaming yourself for not being able to just relax and start fixing the actual problem. If you want to see the full 5-step neurological method that's designed to shut down this nighttime alert system and help prevent those 3 a.m. wake-ups, I've included a link to it in the description below. It breaks down the exact structure step by step, because when your brain finally gets the clear signal that the night is safe, it will do what it was always designed to do: sleep deeply all the way through the night. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.